One day, you're going to look back at this exact moment, and you'll realize the pain you felt was nothing compared to the regret you're carrying now. Stress fades. Regret doesn't. So before you walk away, before you quit, before you give up, hear me out. Because the decision you make after this video could be the one that defines the rest of your life. The world doesn't respect what you talk about. It respects what you execute. You can explain, justify, and promise all you want, but none of it matters if there's no result behind your words. People might nod when you speak about your plans, but deep down they're waiting for proof. That's the harsh truth. You're not judged by your intentions, you're judged by your outcomes. Excuses might buy you sympathy, but they will never buy you respect. Results are the only universal language. When you win, when you achieve, when you manifest what you set out to do, the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to listen. Until then, your words are just noise. This is why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It's an emotion. Discipline, on the other hand, is a decision. It's waking up and doing the work even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up to practice when no one is watching. It's sacrificing temporary comfort for permanent strength. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without it, dreams collapse into dust. With it, even the impossible becomes inevitable. Think about it. Every single person who ever achieved greatness was not fueled by bursts of motivation, but by relentless, boring, consistent discipline. They mastered the art of showing up again and again until the world had no choice but to recognize their results. But here's the problem. Most people love to talk about their plans because it makes them feel like they've already achieved something. They get that little hit of dopamine when someone praises their ideas, and it tricks their brain into believing the work is done. But talking is cheap. Every time you tell the world what you're about to do, you're leaking power. You're letting others drain your energy with their opinions, doubts, and criticisms. That's why the strongest people move in silence. They don't announce, they act. They don't promise, they prove. Their silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Because when you protect your vision from noise, you give it space to grow. Understand this. The world doesn't care about your excuses, your struggles, or your reasons. The only thing people respect is evidence. Results silence doubters, results inspire believers, results create influence. If you want to be taken seriously, stop begging people to understand your journey. Stop wasting breath convincing them of your potential. Go build it. Go earn it. Go manifest it. Once the results are visible, you won't have to explain yourself ever again. You see, excuses are easy to make because they take no effort. Everyone has them. Everyone uses them, and that's why they're worthless. Results, on the other hand, are rare. Results require sacrifice. They demand sleepless nights, painful mornings, lonely hours of work, and countless rejection. But those very things are what make results priceless. That's why results open doors that excuses never will. When you show evidence, people don't ask questions, they open opportunities. When you show discipline, people stop doubting, they start respecting. And here's what you must realize. Life doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. Nobody is going to hand you respect just because you could be great. Nobody claps for the person who almost did it. Nobody remembers the one who talked about it but never finished. The graveyard is full of people who had brilliant ideas but lacked the discipline to turn them into reality. Don't let that be you. Don't let your dreams die in the silence of procrastination. Use your silence as fuel, but let it end with results that shake the ground you stand on. Every single day you wake up, you have a choice. You can repeat yesterday's excuses, or you can build today's results. You can either keep explaining to people why you're not there yet, or you can shut your mouth and prove it with what you create. The decision is yours, and the consequences are permanent. The world is watching, not what you say, but what you do. Then listen carefully, because this is where most people lose themselves. They confuse movement with progress. They think that talking about their goals is the same as building them. They believe that if enough people believe in their dream, it will magically happen. But life doesn't work that way. Life doesn't reward noise, it rewards action. The people who talk less and execute more always dominate those who talk endlessly and never move. That's why silence is power. It doesn't waste time seeking approval. It channels all energy into execution. Silence also protects you. When you share your plans too early, you expose them to doubt, jealousy, and sabotage. Not everyone wants to see you win. Some people will secretly pray for your downfall the moment you reveal your vision. Others will plant seeds of doubt in your mind, not because your dream is impossible, but because your courage threatens their comfort. That's why you must guard your goals as if they were sacred. Your vision is too fragile in the beginning to be left unprotected. It needs solitude, it needs patience, it needs discipline. Let the results speak when the time is right, but until then, build in silence like a warrior sharpening his blade before battle. And never forget, excuses are poison. The more you repeat them, the more they infect your mind until you actually start believing them. Excuses give you temporary relief, but permanent weakness. You'll convince yourself you're a victim of circumstances, and in doing so, you'll hand over your power to the world. Results, however, give you strength. They give you confidence, self-respect, and proof that your efforts matter. When you see the outcome of your work, your faith in yourself multiplies. Results create momentum. Momentum creates consistency, and consistency creates transformation. Ask yourself this: do you want to be remembered as the person who almost made it? The person who talked endlessly but never executed? Or do you want to be remembered as the one who went silent, disappeared into discipline, and re-emerged with results so undeniable that nobody could question them? History doesn't remember talkers. History remembers builders, warriors, leaders, the ones who turned their silence into proof. The truth is, nobody cares about your struggles. Nobody wakes up thinking about your excuse. The world is too busy fighting its own battles to care about why you couldn't follow through. You may think your reasons are valid, but to the world they're just noise. What the world respects, what the world admires, what the world cannot ignore are That's why you must become obsessed with execution. Not with talking, not with planning, not with seeking approval, but with doing the work that turns your vision into reality. Think about the people you admire most, the great inventors, leaders, athletes, creators. They didn't spend their days convincing others of their greatness. They spent their days locked in discipline, hidden from the spotlight, until one day the spotlight had no choice but to find them. That is what greatness requires: isolation, dedication, silence, a refusal to waste time explaining to people who will never understand until they see the results with their own eyes. And here's the most painful truth of all: regret will destroy you far more than failure ever will. Failure stings, but it teaches, it strengthens, it forces growth. Regret, on the other hand, eats you alive. It whispers in your ear at night, reminding you of the chances you didn't take, the work you didn't do, the discipline you avoided. You can recover from failure. You can rise again after defeat, but you can never escape regret. Once it's written into your story, it stays with you until your last breath. That's why you must act now. Not tomorrow, not when the time is right, now. Because right now, you are at war with your distractions, with your laziness, with your excuses, with the weaker version of yourself that wants comfort more than growth. And the only way to win this war is to stop talking and start executing. To stay silent, stay focused, and let your results do the talking when it's time. The world doesn't need your promises, it needs your proof. Most people never win because they want applause before they've earned it. They want recognition before they've built anything worth recognizing. They want to be celebrated for their potential, but life doesn't reward potential. Potential is nothing but wasted energy if it isn't turned into proof. How many people do you know who had big dreams, who talked about their goals, who told everyone what they were going to become? Yet years later, they're in the exact same place. That's the curse of talking. The moment you speak it, you feel like you've already achieved something, but you haven't. You only created an illusion of progress. The truth is, every word you waste talking about your plans steals energy from actually building them. Silence is a discipline. It takes strength to stay quiet when your ego wants validation. It takes power to keep your plans hidden when your pride wants to show off. But that silence is what creates impact. Think of it like this. A lion doesn't roar before it hunts. It stalks silently. It moves without noise. And then when it strikes, the whole jungle feels it. That is how you must treat your life. Move silently, prepare quietly, build relentlessly, and when the results come, they will roar for you. And don't misunderstand, Silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you're shy. It doesn't mean you lack confidence. Silence means you're strategic. It means you've learned that talking too early kills momentum. It means you value progress over praise. And it means you've realized that nobody can doubt a result they can see with their own eyes. The day you show them undeniable proof, all the doubts vanish, all the laughter stops, all the disrespect ends. Results silence every voice, including your own inner critic. But here's the catch. You don't get results without pain. Pain is the entry fee for greatness. Every late night, every early morning, every sacrifice is a toll you must pay to cross the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. And most people quit at the first toll booth. They want the prize, but not the price. They want the reward, but not the struggle. And so they turn back, run to comfort, and spend the rest of their lives explaining why they didn't make it. But the few, the rare few, pay the price in full. They suffer in silence, they bleed in private, they endure without recognition, and then one day they collect results that nobody can take away. And here's what makes results so powerful. They rewrite your identity. Excuses keep you chained to the weaker version of yourself. Results build the stronger version. Every time you prove to yourself that you can follow through, your self-respect grows, your confidence grows. You stop needing external validation because the proof is inside you. That's why results matter more than words. They don't just change how the world sees you, they change how you see you. Regret is the opposite. Regret weakens you. Regret keeps you stuck replaying the past, haunted by all the things you could have done but didn't. And here's the cruel part. Regret always comes too late. You don't feel it when you're making excuses. You don't feel it when you're skipping the work. You feel it years later when you realize the time is gone and you can't get it back. That's why regret is more dangerous than failure. Failure teaches you, regret breaks you. Failure is temporary, regret is forever. And if you keep talking, keep explaining, keep delaying, one day regret will be all you have left. So protect yourself, protect your future self by paying the price now. Protect your dreams by keeping them away from careless voices. Protect your vision by keeping it in silence until it's strong enough to speak for itself. You don't need to convince the world. You don't need to explain your plans. You don't need their permission, their applause, or their approval. You only need your discipline, because discipline creates results. And results create respect. One day, the world will see. One day, your results will speak louder than any promise you've ever made. One day they'll look at you and realize you weren't just talking, you were building. In that moment, you won't have to say a single word. You are at war, not with the world, not with your enemies, not even with the people who doubt you. You are at war with yourself, your weaker self, the self that craves comfort over growth, validation over discipline, instant gratification over long-term achievement. Every single day is a battlefield. When the alarm goes off, it's not just a sound, it's the first bullet fired in today's war. Do you get up? Or do you hit snooze? Do you take control of your day, or do you surrender to laziness? That decision, small as it seems, is life or death for your future self. Your future self is watching. The version of you 10 years from now is being built by the choices you make today. If you choose excuses today, your future self will live in regret. If you choose discipline today, your future self will live in power. And the scariest part is, you don't get a second chance. Once the time is gone, it's gone forever. You can rebuild money, you can rebuild reputation, but you can never rebuild wasted years. That's why silence matters. That's why discipline matters, because every wasted word and every wasted excuse is another day stolen from the life you could have lived. Think about how many dreams have died because people couldn't stay quiet. They told their plans, got criticized, and let doubt kill their ambition. Or worse, they got praised too early, felt satisfied, and stopped working. That's why you must protect your goals like treasure. Don't let careless voices touch them. Don't let approval poison them. Don't let doubt strangle them. Keep them close, nurture them in silence, and only reveal them when they've grown too big to be denied. And remember, your comfort zone is not your friend. It feels safe, but it's slowly suffocating you. Comfort kills hunger. Comfort destroys urgency. Comfort convinces you that tomorrow is guaranteed, when in reality, tomorrow belongs only to those who prepare for it today. Look around. The people who settle for comfort never change. They live the same year on repeat, calling it a life. They escape into distractions. They drown in excuses. They explain their failures away, and then one day they wake up old realizing they traded greatness for comfort. Don't be one of them. Results are the only proof that you lived with purpose. Without results, your life becomes invisible. Nobody remembers promises. Nobody remembers potential. Nobody remembers the one who almost made it. The world only remembers those who executed, those who delivered, those who turned silence into results that could not be ignored. Think about every name that's remembered through history. They weren't remembered for what they said they'd do. They're remembered for what they actually did. And here's the raw truth. No one is coming to save you. Not your family, not your friends, not society. If you don't save yourself with discipline, nobody will. If you don't build the life you want, nobody will build it for you. Life doesn't reward wishes, it rewards work. It doesn't reward noise, it rewards evidence. That's why your silence must be your weapon. Use it to protect your energy. Use it to sharpen your focus. Use it to starve your ego and feed your results. Because one day you'll either stand in front of your success or you'll stand in front of your excuses. And only one of them will give you peace. Excuses may comfort you today, but they will crush you tomorrow. Results may hurt to earn today, but they will free you tomorrow. The choice is yours every single day, in every single moment. And when the war gets hard, because it will, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself that silence today will create noise tomorrow. Remind yourself that the world doesn't need another talker. It needs a builder. It needs someone who proves through action, who inspires through evidence, who lives as a testimony to the power of discipline, that someone can be you if you choose results over excuses, silence over noise, and execution over promises. Time is the one resource you will never get back. You can lose money and rebuild it. You can lose relationships and repair them. You can lose status and regain it. But the seconds slipping through your fingers right now, those are gone forever. Every excuse you make is not just lost progress, it's stolen time. Every moment you waste explaining your plans, defending your vision, or seeking approval, you're giving away hours you can never buy back. That's why silence isn't just strategy, it's survival. It forces you to focus on what matters most, execution. Mortality is your deadline. You don't have forever. One day, your time will run out, whether you're ready or not, and when that moment comes, you won't be judged by what you wanted to do, what you said you'd do, or what you explained to others. You'll be judged by what you actually did. Legacy doesn't care about intentions. It only records results. Think of it. How many people in the graveyard had brilliant ideas, powerful dreams, and unstoppable potential that never left their lips? Their silence was not strategic. It was wasted. Don't join them. Use your silence as fire, as armor, as discipline, so that when you leave this world, you leave proof behind that you existed with purpose. And this is where most people fail. They live as if time is unlimited. They think they can waste years and somehow catch up later. But every day without discipline is a day stolen from your future self. One day, you'll wake up and realize you've run out of laters. You'll run out of chances. You'll run out of time. That's why urgency is everything. Discipline is not just about success, it's about respect for the short, fragile gift of life. Every action you take in silence today is an investment in a legacy that will outlive you. Think about it. When you're gone, nobody will care how many times you explained your plan. Nobody will remember the promises you made. They will remember what you built. They will remember the results you left behind. They will remember the legacy that spoke louder than words. That is the power of execution. That is why silence is a weapon, because it cuts away distraction, ego, and noise, leaving only the sharp edge of results. And here's the paradox. The quieter you are now, the louder your legacy will be later. The less you talk today, the more the world will talk about you tomorrow. The less you seek applause, the more applause will find you when the work is undeniable. Silence in the present multiplies your voice in the future. That's why the greatest people in history didn't waste energy convincing others. They disappeared into discipline and returned with results so powerful that history had no choice but to record their names. So I ask you, what will your life record? Will it record endless explanations, excuses, and empty promises, or will it record the silent work, the discipline, the sacrifices that turned your vision into reality? Will you be remembered as someone who almost did it, or someone who stayed silent until the results screamed louder than any words ever could? Your legacy is being written right now. Every decision adds a line. Every excuse erases one. Every result you create carves your name deeper into time. That's why you cannot afford to waste another moment explaining, proving, or defending. Your silence, your discipline, your relentless execution, that is what will build the legacy you crave. Every person has two versions of themselves living within them, the weak self and the strong self. The weak self seeks comfort, ease, and validation. It whispers lies, like you can start tomorrow, you've done enough, or it's okay to take it easy. The weak self survives on excuses and thrives on distraction. But then there's the strong self, the disciplined self. This version doesn't care about comfort. It doesn't care about how tired you feel. It doesn't care about applause. It only cares about one thing: execution. This self knows that greatness comes at a price, and it's willing to pay in full. But here's the painful truth. Only one of these selves will survive. Every choice you make is feeding one and starving the other. Every time you choose excuses, you feed the weak self and starve the warrior. Every time you choose discipline, you starve the weak self and strengthen the warrior. Over time, one will die, and the other will rule. The question is, who do you want in charge of your destiny? To become who you were meant to be, you must kill the weak version of yourself. You must put it to death with discipline. You must bury it under hours of relentless effort, sweat, and sacrifice, because that weak self is the only enemy that can truly destroy you. No critic, no hater, no circumstance can defeat you as badly as your own laziness and excuses can. The war is not outside, it is inside, and silence is your battlefield. When you stop talking and start executing, you cut the oxygen supply to the weak self. You suffocate it, you bury it alive, and out of that silence, the warrior within begins to rise. This warrior version of you is dangerous because it doesn't rely on emotion. It relies on discipline. It doesn't get distracted by opinions. It doesn't need approval. It doesn't talk, it acts. And when it acts, it changes everything. This is the version of you that history will remember. This is the version of you that will create a legacy that outlives you. This is the version of you that will finally make the noise that matters, the noise of undeniable results. But transformation is not comfortable. It's violent. You cannot negotiate with the weak self. You must destroy it. You must train your mind to stop craving validation and start craving victory. You must become addicted to discipline, obsessed with execution, and ruthless with your time. The weak self will scream, it will resist, it will tempt you with comfort, but every time you choose silence and action, it loses power, and slowly it will die. Understand this: your destiny depends on which self you feed. If you feed the weak self, your future will be filled with regret, excuses, and wasted years. If you feed the strong self, your future will be filled with results, respect, and legacy. That is the choice you are making every single day, life or death, for your destiny. And when the warrior within finally takes over, you'll notice something. People will begin to notice you without you saying a word. They'll feel the weight of your results. They'll respect your silence because it carries proof. They'll realize that while they were talking, you were building. While they were seeking approval, you were sharpening your weapon. While they were wasting time, you were preparing for greatness. That's why silence is not just a weapon. It is the birthplace of transformation. It is where the weak self dies and the warrior self is born. It is where excuses are buried and results are built. It is where comfort is destroyed and greatness begins. Picture this. There is a version of you in the future who has everything you ever wanted: the strength, the freedom, the respect, the wealth, the impact, the peace of mind. That version of you already exists, but only in potential. It's waiting, watching, hoping you'll make the choices today that will give it life. And then there's another version of you in the future, the broken one, the one who carries regret in their eyes, the one who is haunted by what if, the one who wasted their potential because comfort was easier. Both versions of you are real. Both are alive in possibility, but only one will survive. And the one that survives depends on what you do now in silence when nobody is watching. Destiny is not luck. Destiny is discipline. It is built choice by choice, habit by habit, day by day. Most people hand their destiny to the weak self. They let procrastination write their story. They let fear decide their path. They let excuses design their life. But those who understand silence, those who understand discipline, those who understand that the world only respects results, they seize destiny with both hands. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for the right time. They create the right time through relentless execution. Ask yourself, what story will your future self tell? Will it look back in gratitude, thanking you for the sacrifices, the discipline, the silence that protected its rise? Or will it curse you for wasting time, for giving in to laziness, for trading greatness for comfort? You are making that decision now, not years from now. Every late night of work, every early morning of sacrifice, every hour spent building in silence is a vote for the stronger self, the future self who will stand proud. Every excuse, every delay, every wasted day is a vote for regret, for a weaker self who will forever wonder what could have been. And here is where silence becomes your greatest weapon. It creates distance between you and the noise of the world. The world will try to distract you. It will tempt you with shortcuts. It will beg for your attention, pulling you into endless cycles of validation and comparison. But silence cuts all that away. Silence builds a wall between you and the world's noise, so you can hear the only voice that matters, the voice of discipline. Your legacy depends on this war. Legacy is not built on dreams, it's built on discipline. Legacy is not built on promises, it's built on proof. Legacy is not built on what you wanted to do, but on what you actually did. And here's the secret. Your legacy is not it's for everyone who comes after you. Your discipline today will inspire someone tomorrow. Your results will give someone else permission to believe. Your silence will echo through time, louder than all the noise around you today. So you must decide, will your name be remembered for results or forgotten in regret? Will your future self stand in gratitude, or will it kneel in despair? Will you die with excuses in your mouth, or with results that speak for you long after you're gone? That decision is being written now in the silence of your daily choices. And when it gets hard, and it will get hard, remind yourself that this war is worth fighting, because the prize is not just success, not just wealth, not just respect. The prize is freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from the weak self, freedom from the chains of comfort that hold most people hostage for life. That is the destiny waiting for you if you dare to stay silent, stay disciplined, and let your results roar when the time comes. Then listen closely, because what I'm about to say might haunt you for the rest of your life if you ignore it. Most people die twice. The first time when their body leaves this earth, and the second time when their name is spoken for the last time. Legacy is what decides how long that second death takes to arrive. And here is the harsh truth. Nobody will remember you for what you planned to do, for the things you almost started, for the goals you talked about but never touched. They will only remember what you built, what you created, what you left behind. Silence protects that. Discipline fuels that. Legacy demands that. You see, silence doesn't just hide your plans, it fortifies them. It builds an armor around your destiny that gossip, jealousy, and negativity cannot penetrate. When you stay silent, you rob the world of its power to stop you because they cannot destroy what they cannot see. The moment you announce your plans to everyone, you open the door to doubt, envy, and sabotage. But when you move in silence, when you keep your head down and work, the world has no choice but to be shocked by your result. That's why the great ones, Napoleon Hill, Marcus Aurelius, Andrew Carnegie, and countless others understood this. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Discipline is the spiritual weight you carry every single day. It is the chain that binds you to your destiny when motivation fades. Motivation will abandon you, inspiration will vanish. But discipline, when trained, becomes your most loyal companion. It wakes you up when you don't want to move. It holds your hand when you're tempted to quit. It whispers to you in the silence that the weak cannot hear. Keep going because the world only respects results, and that whisper becomes a roar when your work is finally revealed to the world. Think of the lives you can touch if you refuse to let weakness win. Somewhere out there is a younger version of you, lost, broken, and hopeless, waiting for proof that discipline works, waiting for proof that greatness is possible. That proof is you. You can become living evidence that discipline changes everything. But if you choose comfort, if you choose excuses, if you let your tongue move faster than your hands, then you not only fail yourself, you fail them too. You deny the world the example it desperately needs. And here's the ultimate paradox. When you stay silent long enough, when you let your results accumulate, your silence becomes louder than any noise you could ever make. People will whisper about you. They will wonder how you did it. They will envy the results they can't ignore. And while they're busy talking, you'll be too busy building. That is how silence makes you untouchable. Because what can fear say to someone who already walked through fire in silence? What can doubt do to someone who already conquered the battlefield within? What can jealousy take from someone who never relied on approval in the first place? Nothing. You become untouchable when you move in silence, when you train your mind through discipline, when you let your results be your only voice. One day your name will be spoken for the last time. The question is, will it fade quietly with the billions who lived and died unnoticed? Or will it echo, carried by the weight of your work, the strength of your discipline, and the shock of your results? That choice is being made in silence right now by you. Let's strip away the illusions and face the truth most people run from. You are going to die. Every breath you take brings you closer to the last one, and time does not negotiate. It does not pause for excuses. It does not care about your comfort. It only asks one thing. What did you do with the hours you were given? Most people waste their hours like water slipping through their hands. They live as if tomorrow is promised, as if opportunities will come again, as if they can afford to wait. But the graveyard is full of people who plan to start someday, full of people who talked, who dreamed, who explained, but never executed. Silence and discipline are the antidote to that fate because they force you into action instead of noise. You see, mortality is not your enemy. It is your greatest motivator. Knowing that your time is limited should light a fire under your soul. It should make you ruthless about how you spend each hour. But here's the trap. When you speak too much about your goals, your brain tricks you into believing you've already achieved something just by announcing it. That false sense of accomplishment kills urgency. It robs you of the hunger that comes only from unspoken commitment. Silence keeps that hunger alive. Silence reminds you that nothing is real until it is built, until it exists in the world, until it is undeniable. And that's where immortality comes in. No human being is eternal in flesh, but you can be eternal in impact. Discipline carves your name into the stone of time. Think of the names you still remember from centuries ago. Philosophers, leaders, inventors, builders. They are gone. Their bodies turned to dust, but their discipline gave them eternity. They left behind proof. They left behind results. They left behind something greater than themselves. And you, yes, you have the same power, the same hours in a day, the same choice between silence and noise, excuses and execution, weakness and strength. The tragedy is not that life is short. The tragedy is that most people live short lives even when given decades. They live half asleep, controlled by comfort, silenced by fear, enslaved by procrastination. But the disciplined, the ones who choose silence, the ones who build without applause, they live forever in the hearts and minds of those who witness their results. When you live with discipline, your life becomes a message. When you move in silence, your results become scripture for those who come after you. You stop being just a person, and you become a symbol of what is possible. Imagine this clearly. One day, long after your body has gone, someone will stumble upon your work, your words, your creations, your results, and in that moment, they will feel something stir inside them. They will say, if he could do it, so can I. If she built this, maybe I can build too. That is immortality. That is the power discipline gives you. That is the eternal weight of silence. It makes your results so undeniable that they outlive you. And here's the spiritual truth. When you train your mind, when you master your habits, when you dedicate yourself to discipline, you align with something greater than yourself. You align with purpose. You align with destiny. You become a vessel through which greatness flows, not because you talked about it, but because you built it in the quiet hours when no one was watching. That is why silence is a weapon. It doesn't just protect your plans, it sanctifies them. It makes them sacred, untouchable, divine. So ask yourself now, are you willing to die with your music still inside you, your dreams unbuilt, your destiny unfulfilled? Or will you choose the harder path, the silent path, the disciplined path, the only path that leads to immortality through impact? The clock is ticking. Every second is a reminder. You do not have forever. But if you master silence and discipline, you won't need forever. You'll leave behind results that echo through eternity. Understand this. Life will test you, not once, not twice, but relentlessly. It will throw pain at you, betrayals at you, disappointments at you, Most people collapse under the weight of these tests because they were never prepared. They lived for applause, for validation, for comfort, so the moment it was stripped away, they had nothing left. But you, if you choose silence and discipline, you turn pain into fuel. You use betrayal as proof that not everyone deserves access to your plans. You use disappointment as a sharpening stone for your character. You stop running from difficulty, and you start feeding on it, because discipline teaches you that pain is not punishment, it is preparation. Think about it. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. The tallest buildings require the deepest foundations. And the greatest men and women are born not in comfort, but in the silence of their sacrifices. While the world was laughing, they were building. While the world was celebrating, they were training. While the world was talking, they were moving in silence. And that is why the world had no choice but to bow to their results later. Silence is more than strategy. It is warfare. When you don't reveal your moves, you cannot be predicted. When you cannot be predicted, you cannot be stopped. The weak broadcast their every intention because they crave validation before they've earned victory. But the strong operate in shadows because they understand that the only announcement worth making is proof. You want to shock the world? Stop talking about it and let the silence build suspense. Let your results hit so hard that no introduction is necessary. And discipline is the sword you sharpen daily. It cuts through laziness, through procrastination, through weakness. Discipline is what forces you to show up when your body begs you not to. It is what makes you say no to the comfort that is killing others silently. It is what transforms ordinary men into legends. Without discipline, your silence becomes wasted potential. But with discipline, silence becomes unstoppable momentum. Sooner or later, the world will try to test your resolve. Doubt will knock on your door. Fear will whisper in your ear. Jealous voices will try to pull you back down. But here's the truth. None of them can touch you if you've mastered the art of silence and the power of discipline, because they cannot argue with proof. They cannot destroy results that are already built. They cannot kill a spirit that has turned pain into power. And that's when you become something rare, something feared, something respected. You become untouchable, unpredictable, unstoppable. The world cannot weaken you, because you already embrace discomfort voluntarily. The world cannot silence you because your silence is louder than their noise. The world cannot defeat you because discipline has already killed the weaker version of you. So the question becomes, are you willing to go that far? To trade the shallow comfort of applause for the deeper fulfillment of respect? To sacrifice the temporary high of validation for the eternal weight of legacy? To carry your silence like a weapon and your discipline like armor, knowing that most people will never understand until it's too late? Because if you are, then nothing, not fear, not doubt, not envy, not failure can stop you. You will become a storm moving silently, a force that the world cannot anticipate, and when your results finally arrive, they will shake everything in their path. That is what it means to live unstoppable. That is the destiny waiting for you if you choose silence as your shield and discipline as your sword. There is a version of you that lives off excuses. That version whispers, not today. You're tired. You've done enough. You can start tomorrow. It tells you comfort is deserved, that discipline can wait, that silence is pointless. This version is not your friend. It is your executioner. Every time you listen to it, you kill another piece of your potential. Every time you obey it, you bury your greatness under the dirt of laziness and fear. That weaker self wants you to die anonymous, forgotten, ordinary. And here's the truth. Most people let that version of themselves win. That is why the world is full of mediocrity. But there is another version of you, the stronger one, the one who feels the same pain, the same doubt, the same fear, but chooses differently. The one who hears the excuses and answers with action. The one who does not announce their plans, but builds them in silence. The one who doesn't need applause because results are louder than claps. That version of you is a weapon. It is dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to weakness, dangerous to anything that stands in its way. But that version only comes alive through one thing: ruthless discipline. Discipline is the assassin of the weaker self. Every time you rise early when your body screams no, you stab laziness in the heart. Every time you push through doubt in silence, You strangle fear. Every time you choose action over comfort, you bury procrastination alive. Discipline is not gentle. It is not kind. It is ruthless, merciless, and unforgiving. And that is why it works. It kills what is killing you. And when discipline stands guard, the weaker self cannot breathe. Silence multiplies that power. Because when you are silent, no one knows your moves. No one can stop what they cannot see. You are a shadow, building in the dark, invisible to distraction, untouchable by envy. And when you finally step into the light, you are no longer the same person. You are transformed. You are armed. You are undeniable. Think about it. Mediocrity survives because people hesitate, because they announce their plans and then crumble under the weight of opinions, because they wait for permission, because they need validation before they move. But you, if you choose silence, if you choose discipline, you give mediocrity nowhere to hide. You become its enemy. Your very existence, your results, your proof becomes a mirror that shames the lazy. That is why the weak will fear you. That is why they will envy. That is why they will whisper your name even when you are not in the room. And you must embrace that role. You must become dangerous, not to people, but to everything that keeps people average. Dangerous to excuses, dangerous to fear, dangerous to procrastination, dangerous to the comfort that keeps billions asleep. Because when you move with silence and discipline, you expose the lie that mediocrity is destiny. You show the world what is possible, and in doing so, you destroy the excuses of everyone around you. That is true power. That is true influence. So ask yourself, will you live as prey to your weaker self, or will you become the hunter? Will you spend your life feeding excuses, or will you slaughter them with discipline? Will you let the world predict your every move, or will you vanish into silence and return with results so sharp they cut through disbelief? The choice is yours, but make no mistake, not choosing is also a choice, and it is the choice that hands victory to mediocrity. One day, the weaker self inside you will beg for mercy. It will fight for survival as discipline closes in. Do not hesitate. Do not let it breathe. Kill it completely, because only when the weaker you is dead can the stronger you rise. And when that stronger you rises, when it moves in silence, when it wields discipline like a weapon, you will not just succeed, you will dominate. Domination begins when you stop negotiating with yourself, when you stop asking, should I do this today? And instead declare, this gets done no matter what. That mindset shifts you from human to force. Most people live at the mercy of their moods. If they feel motivated, they move. If they feel tired, they stop. That is slavery. True freedom is when your actions no longer bow to your feelings, but to your discipline. That's when your life changes, when you no longer depend on emotion but on execution. Silence is the shield that protects this power, because when you reveal your plans, you give others the chance to delay you, doubt you, distract you. But when you move in silence, there is no interference. No one can stop a move they cannot see. And by the time they realize what you've been building, it is already too late. You are not asking for recognition. You are forcing recognition. You are not hoping for respect. You are commanding it through proof. Discipline is the engine of inevitability. It is what makes progress non-negotiable. It does not matter how small the step is. If you take it every single day, the outcome becomes guaranteed. That is the secret average people will never understand. Discipline makes results inevitable. You may not see them today. You may not see them next week. But if you stay consistent in silence, the day will come when the world cannot deny what you've built. They won't be able to look away. They won't be able to ignore you, because results are louder than promises. And when you reach that point, you become a force. Not a person chasing goals, but a storm rewriting everything in its path. The world cannot delay you, because you've already decided delay does not exist. The world cannot deny you because you've already built proof too heavy to be ignored. That is what domination looks like. Not screaming for attention, but quietly creating results so undeniable they crush resistance. But here is the darker truth. Domination demands sacrifice. You cannot dominate if you still crave comfort. You cannot dominate if you still live for applause. You cannot dominate if you let your weaker self breathe even for a second. Domination requires silence so deep that nobody sees the sleepless nights. It requires discipline so strong that nobody can comprehend the sacrifice. And it requires patience so unshakable that you wait as long as it takes to prove the world wrong. And once you dominate, once you become inevitable, you reach a level most people never touch. You become untouchable by time itself. Your work, your results, your proof outlive you. People who never knew your name while you were alive will speak it after you are gone. That is the kind of legacy silence and discipline create. Not noise, not hype, not announcements, but proof. Immovable, eternal proof. So I ask you now, are you willing to pay that price? Are you willing to kill comfort, embrace silence, chain yourself to discipline, and rise until you dominate? Because if you are, then inevitability becomes your destiny. The world cannot stop what it cannot predict, and it cannot deny what it cannot ignore. That is the power waiting for you. That is the weapon only a few ever wield. Legends are not born. They are carved out of silence, sharpened by discipline and tested by fire. They are not the loudest in the room, but the ones who cannot be ignored. They are not the ones who bragged about their plans, but the ones who unveiled results so massive that the world had to stop and take notice. A legend does not need to scream. A legend does not need to explain. A legend does not even need to be alive to inspire. That is the difference between a life lived loudly and a life lived with purpose. When you choose silence, you step out of the world of the ordinary. You refuse to waste energy on convincing others. You conserve that energy for building. And when you choose discipline, you turn every day into a brick laid on the foundation of your future. Most people crumble because they are chasing attention. Legends rise because they are chasing eternity. That is why their work lives on long after they are gone. Weakness will fear you because your life is proof that excuses are lies. The lazy will despise you because your results expose their comfort. Mediocrity will whisper against you because your very existence becomes a threat. And yet the strong will respect you because strength recognizes strength. They will see your silence and know it is strategy. They will see your discipline and know it is mastery. They will bow not to your words but to your proof. But remember, becoming legendary costs everything. You cannot live like everyone else and expect to be remembered unlike anyone else. You must sacrifice sleep, comfort, distraction, and the shallow approval of the crowd. You must be willing to disappear for years, to be misunderstood, to be doubted, to be mocked. But when you return, when the silence finally breaks, you will not come back the same. You will come back as a force too heavy to move, too sharp to dull, too powerful to ignore. That is how legends are made, quietly, relentlessly, with blood, with sweat, with fire in the soul. And here is the paradox. Once you become legendary, you no longer belong only to yourself. Your life becomes a roadmap for others. Your silence teaches them that not every move must be shared. Your discipline teaches them that not every day will feel good, but every day must count. Your results teach them that dreams are worthless without proof. You stop being just a man or woman, you become a standard, a living scripture of what happens when silence and discipline meet destiny. So ask yourself, do you want to be remembered as someone who lived or as someone who mattered? Do you want to be another voice lost in the noise or the silence that shook the world with proof? Do you want to be forgotten within a generation or remembered for centuries as the one who refused to break? That choice is in front of you now. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because every day you delay, the weaker self wins. Every day you hesitate, mediocrity grows stronger. Every day you talk instead of build, you steal from your own legacy. One day the earth will cover your body, the world will move on, and the only question left will be, what did you leave behind? Noise or proof, comfort or greatness, excuses or a legacy? Your silence and your discipline decide that, nothing else. One day soon you will wake up and realize there are no more tomorrows to waste, no more somedays, no more second chances. Time will have slipped through your fingers, and all that will remain is the brutal weight of regret. And regret is a poison far more painful than discipline. Regret whispers in your final moments. You could have been more. You should have done more. You had everything inside you, but you chose comfort instead. And by then, it will be too late. You cannot negotiate with time once it has taken everything from you. But right now, in this moment, you still have a choice. You can still move in silence. You can still chain yourself to discipline. You can still build the life that will outlive you. You can still bury the weaker self and rise into the version of you that commands respect, that lives with fire, that dies without regret. But that window is closing. Every wasted day is another brick laid on the grave of your potential. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You don't need to explain yourself. You need action. Ruthless, relentless, disciplined action. You need to stop feeding the world with promises and start starving it with silence until your results are undeniable. Because results cannot be argued with. Results cannot be ignored. Results cannot be destroyed. And when your results roar, even the ones who doubted you will have no choice but to bow. The question is not whether you have greatness inside you. The question is whether you will kill enough excuses, embrace enough silence, and endure enough discipline to bring it out. And if you don't, if you choose comfort, if you choose noise, if you choose to wait, then understand this. You are digging your own grave in slow motion. The world will move on without you. Weakness will win, and you will die with your song unsung, your fire unlit, your destiny wasted. But if you choose differently, if you choose silence as your shield, discipline as your sword, and destiny as your target, then nothing on this earth can stop you. Not doubt, not fear, not envy, not even time, because you will have built something greater than yourself. You will have carved your name into eternity. You will have lived, not just existed. And when your body is gone, your proof will remain, echoing for generations. So this is the final call. Stop talking, stop waiting, stop hiding, move in silence, live in discipline, and let your results speak so loudly that the world has no choice but to remember you forever.